About 12,300 years ago, on a marsh in what is now Utah, somebody sat by a small fire. We know almost nothing about them, not their name, not their language. We know they were a hunter because the camp is full of duck bones and stone points. And we know one more thing, because in 2021, archaeologists sifted the ash of that hearth and found 4 charred seeds, wild tobacco. Tobacco isn't food. It has no meaningful calories. It won't keep you warm. Somebody at that fire, at the very end of the last ice age, was using a plant purely for what it did to their head, and that is currently the oldest hard evidence we have of a human being doing this. But here's the question that should actually bother you. Tobacco doesn't make nicotine for us. It makes it to poison insects. Coffee doesn't make caffeine to wake you up. It makes it to kill things that chew on it. Nearly every substance humans have ever gotten high on started life as a plant's chemical weapon. So why does a plant's poison fit your brain like a key in a lock? That's the real story here. And the answer is much, much older than the fire in Utah. Stay with me. Let's do the history first, because it is not a footnote in human life. It's a spine running down the middle of it. Roughly 9,000 years ago, at a village called Jiahu, in the Yellow River Valley of China, people were making a fermented drink from rice, honey, and fruit. We know because the residue soaked into their pottery and stayed there for 90 centuries. 8,000 years ago, in the Nanchoc Valley of northern Peru, people chewed coca leaves with lime. Archaeologists found the leaves and the little caches of processed lime that go with them on the floors of their houses. About 6,000 years ago, in Neolithic Spain, in a cave now called the Bat Cave, someone was buried with woven grass baskets holding opium poppy capsules. In a cave in the Philippines, a skeleton from about 4,600 years ago has teeth stained the red-brown of betel nut, a mild stimulant still chewed by hundreds of millions of people today. And 2,500 years ago, high in the Pamirs mountains of western China, mourners at a cemetery called Jirzon dropped hot stones into small wooden braziers and burned cannabis over the graves. When chemists analyzed the residue in 2019, they found unusually high levels of the psychoactive compound. Not the low-potency hemp grown everywhere for rope and seed. Somebody had selected for the strong stuff deliberately. Different continents, different centuries, no contact between most of them, and everywhere you dig, the same behavior, showing up as early as the evidence can reach, which starts to look less like a habit humans picked up and more like something we brought with us. So why does it work? The naive answer is that these plants make you feel good. That's backwards. Nothing in nature was designed to make you feel good. The plants were, if anything, trying to do the opposite. Nicotine is an insecticide, the tobacco plant's answer to caterpillars. Caffeine is toxic to insects and to competing seedlings. A coffee plant poisons the soil around itself with it. Morphine, cocaine, mescaline, the compound in cannabis, all defensive chemistry, produced at real metabolic cost to make a leaf a bad meal. And yet, they don't kill us in the doses we use. They do something far weirder. They walk straight into the machinery of the human nervous system, as if they'd been issued a pass. The reason is a coincidence, or more precisely, a case of mistaken identity that keeps happening. Your brain runs on chemicals that carry meaning. One system signals reward and motivation. One dampens pain. One tunes attention. Each works by a molecule with a specific shape, docking into a receptor with a matching shape. Shape is the whole language. Plants evolving under totally different pressures, stumbled into molecules whose shapes happen to fit some of those same receptors. Nicotine fits receptors your brain built for acetylcholine, a chemical you use for attention, alertness, and muscle control. Morphine fits receptors your brain built for your own internal painkillers, the endorphins. And in 1992, a team led by the chemist Raphael Mechoulam found the molecule your brain makes for the receptors that cannabis happens to fit. They named it anandamide, from a Sanskrit word for bliss. That is the crucial reversal, and it's worth saying slowly. Cannabis doesn't have a receptor in your brain. Your brain has a system evolved over hundreds of millions of years for regulating appetite, pain, mood, and memory, and cannabis happens to carry a key that opens the same door. The plant didn't evolve to reach you. It evolved to poison an insect, and your locks turned out to be similar enough. Which leaves one more question, and it's the sharpest one. Evolution is not sentimental. A brain that can be hijacked by a leaf should be a brain that gets weeded out. So why are we still like this? There are 3 serious answers, and they probably all contribute. The first is that the reward system isn't a pleasure system. It's a learning system. Its job is to tag things that kept your ancestors alive: food, water, sex, status, safety, and make you repeat them. It works by measuring a chemical signal. A molecule that produces that signal directly isn't a pleasure. It's a forged document. Your brain reads the certificate, not the achievement. The second is that the exposure isn't new, it's ancestral. Around 10 million years ago, in the common ancestor of humans, chimpanzees, and gorillas, a single mutation in a gene called ADH4 made one of our enzymes about 40 times better at metabolizing alcohol. 10 million years, long before anyone brewed anything. The best explanation is fallen fruit. As our ancestors spent more time on the ground, overripe fermenting fruit became worth eating, and the ones who could handle the alcohol in it ate better. Which means the ability to process alcohol didn't arrive with agriculture. It was in the family before we came down from the trees. And the third answer is the most uncomfortable. At low doses, some of this may have been useful. Stimulants push back hunger and fatigue. Coca in the Andes, betel across Asia, tobacco in the Americas, all used by people doing hard work in hard places. Several of these compounds also work against intestinal parasites, a near universal fact of pre-modern life. A mild plant neurotoxin in small amounts may sometimes have been the best medicine available. Now, the honest caveat, and it's a big one, ancient does not mean safe, and natural definitely doesn't. Tobacco is the deadliest of all of these by an enormous margin, and its ancient use tells you nothing about the safety of a modern cigarette. Dose matters, concentration matters, root matters. Chewing a leaf and inhaling a refined extract are not the same event in the body. Everything here is history and biology. None of it is a recommendation. And archaeology moves. Every date in this video is the oldest evidence found so far, not the oldest occurrence. Someone will dig up an older hearth, and these numbers will move again, but the shape of it won't change, and the shape is the strange part. We tend to talk about drugs as a modern failure, something that went wrong recently in cities with chemistry. That's not what the evidence says. The evidence says the vulnerability is not a bug that appeared in us. It's a seam that runs through the whole animal. The receptors were installed long before we were human. The metabolic tolerance predates our species by 10 million years. And the moment we were recognizably us, Hunting ducks by a marsh at the end of an ice age, someone was already sitting by a fire, burning a leaf that had nothing to offer but a feeling, which means the question was never why humans started. It's why, with locks this old and keys this common, we ever expected ourselves to stop. If the receptors came first, is the kind of fact that rearranges how you see something ordinary. That's what this whole channel is for. Stick around and stay curious.